On top of that, when he goes inside the temple, he finds some of the priests that's supposed to be serving the people with the worship Yahweh gave them, with the divine worship of the temple of Yahweh, where his presence is supposed to be dwelling in the most holy place between the cherubim. He goes on in there after he sees these women weeping for Tammuz, and he sees that the leaders and some of the priests, the Levites, have their back turned toward the temple of the Lord. They've turned their back on God and his commandments, and they got their face turned toward the sun, and they're worshiping the sun in the east. When we go to Revelation chapter 17, and we see that golden cup in the hand of the great mother church, the harlot, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, the Bible is the one that tells you what the abominations are that she's holding in that cup, whereby all the inhabitants of the earth and all nations have been made drunk with whatever's in this golden cup she's holding. And the Bible is specific on what these abominations are. It's a false system of worship. All the way through the Bible discourse, the whole topic is about worship. And so therefore, if it's about worship, then it must be logical to assume it's about whom you follow in worship. Either the Creator, but we see these people turning their back on the Creator and the blessed sanctuary work in the sanctuary pattern after the temple in heaven that he gave the pattern to Moses on Mount Sinai, along with the 10 coded law he engraved with his own finger. Yahweh means business when people enter into a covenant relationship with him. He don't want them flirting around with other gods. He said he was a jealous God, visiting the iniquities upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generation, and showing mercy unto thousands who love him and keep his commandments. So whatever these people are doing here, you can rest assured it's an abomination, and it has to do with forsaking the law of God. Now, in the days of Elijah, remember those days? Elijah told the king Ahaz, he said, now you're the one troubling Israel because you have caused them to turn from the commandments of the Lord and worship Baal. He said, you troubled Israel, not me. He said, I challenge you, meet me with all the prophets of Jezebel up on Mount Carmel, and we will find out who is God. Yahweh was with this prophet. He was a strong prophet. And he goes up on Mount Carmel, and there's about 500 or more of these false prophets of Jezebel, the prophets, the magicians, the sorcerers, the soothsayers, the diviners, necromancers, you name it. They're up there, and they are the crew of Jezebel and wicked King Ahaz. They're the science crew. They're the magicians that Moses and Aaron was confronted with, the same powers in the book of Exodus prior to the Exodus from Egypt. Okay, what are we having here? It's plain that they're having themselves a good old-fashioned ancient Easter sunrise service. What is the significance? Because when you study up on this springtime festival, this pagan festival, you see that the colored eggs and the Easter bunnies, the Easter bunny coming out because spring has come, and it's a symbol of fertility, and it's associated with these goddesses of fertility all the way back to Nimrod through the kingdoms of Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, Rome. All of them adopted these pagan holidays and rituals. What about today? Do we still have them around? We do. I noticed my wife said, yeah, we do, people. In the form of the weekly Sunday, which was a weekly festival of the pagans, of which was changed during the years of transition, of which was substituted for the holy Sabbath day, Sabbath of the Lord. There's only one day ever sanctified, hallowed, and blessed, and that's the 7th day of the week. There's only one Sabbath he observed and read the scriptures to all the people in the temples on, and that's the 7th day of the week. And there's only one Sabbath that the apostles I find keeping all through the book of Acts, and that's the 7th day of the week. This change came about because the pagan Roman world, when they made Christianity the state religion, and Constantine, a dedicated pagan to the bone, passed the first Sunday laws, and they adopted the old weekly festival of the Sunday, Dies Solis Invictus, the honorable or venerable day of the sun. And this change came about through pagan tradition. And the birthday of Christ, which is in the fall, sometime in October, is now, they have made it since those years of transition, when they put all these pagan traditions into the church worship system, they have made that the blessed birthday, a pagan ritual, abomination in the sight of Yahweh, the birthday of our blessed Lord. I tell you, the abominations in the cup of the harlot church, the Vatican Church, the Holy Roman Empire, that the deadly wound was healed in 1929 by Mussolini, and Vatican was restored back to sovereignty over in Europe. That world church power has deceived every nation into keeping these pagan traditional holidays in one form or another, and at one time or another on a yearly basis. This, my friend, is the cup in the hand of a false world church system. And it is making people fornicate against the Lord, spiritually committing fornication, spiritual fornication against the Lord. The fall of ancient Babylon was because Belshazzar turned double ignorant and asked the people to get the holy vessels. Now this vessel is here from the place where his daddy Nebuchadnezzar, who died a saved man, a Hebrew, converted Hebrew, he told him to go get those vessels, and he mixed a pagan cult, sun cult party with the sacred vessels from the temple in Jerusalem, drank wine at them, praised the gods of gold, silver, stone, wood. And the very moment they started getting on a good one with those holy vessels, a hand appeared and wrote on the wall, "You had to lick." Caused the fall of ancient Babylon, and it won't be long until Messiah returns on the clouds of heaven and puts a stop to this little horn power. So would the real false prophet please stand up? Guess who it is? The good old democratic nations like America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. You see, people, when we came over here to establish freedom of religion and separation of church and state, we didn't want what went on during the medieval times, during the Dark Ages, when the papacy killed off reformers by the millions. We didn't want that going on over here in our nation. So we established a nation on freedom of religion. That has been fading ever since the 60s, probably since the 40s, when the United Nations was implemented and the Pope. Please understand, the traditions of the pagan heathen nations of Babylon, Assyria, Egypt, Media Persia, Greece, and Rome, and then on down, got passed into the church worship system, and these are the abominations. And this is exactly what Daniel was talking about in the prophecies when he says he'll take away the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. Because when you break the sacred oracles, what have you done? Committed sin. Transgression of the law is sin. That's 1 John. Transgression of the law is sin. So therefore he took away the daily sacrifice, what? Of worship to Christ, our only mediator and high priest in the heavenly temple. This power will be the very power that Christ destroys and consumes at his next advent. The false prophet, the nation, the lamb-like beast that came up out of the earth in a sparse area, virtually unpopulated, because the first beast out of the sea, out of the old world, well, he arose among all the peoples of the earth in the old world. This place was not founded then. This lamb-like beast with 2 horns, separation of church and state, civil, religious freedom, either one you pick, 2 horns. The lamb-like beast is the United States of America, and it performs signs and wonders, and this image causes everybody to practice the principles that took the lives of millions of people in the Dark Ages. It's the Dark Ages relived, and it's going to get worse and worse, and